Okay, today on Pro Mindset, this is your host, Craig Domann, and I have a young man who has seen football at the highest level from lots of different directions as a player, as a player engagement guy, um, as a mentor of men. Antoine McClain from the from Clemson University, and you are the director of former player engagement and development. I know those guys. I'm real good friends with Duke Preston down at Tampa Bay.
That's great, man. Great. He's a great guy.
Duke is awesome. Shout out to Duke. I represented Duke as an agent, and then Duke's been on Pro Mindset a couple times.
Oh, wow.
And said some really, really awesome things. He's very, very astute at this space that you're in. So, Anton, welcome to Pro Mindset today.
Thank you for having me, man. It was just a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so this is way I roll. I want you to share your story, and I first want you to start out with your player story. So you played at Clemson. You played in the NFL for 6 different teams. You're in the average career length for an NFL guy is 4 games. It's 4 games. People say it's like 3.4 years and all this stuff, but it's 4 games.
Wow.
And a lot of guys ride the bench. A lot of guys are on practice squad. A lot of guys are on IR, and they're in the NFL. They're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
But they ain't showing up on TV on Sunday like Trevor Lawrence and guys like that played at Clemson, right?
No, sir.
So share with us your story. Were you a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, no star, all that stuff?
All right, cool. Well, I'll take you back to Anson, Alabama. I was a 4-star when the 2008-2007 USA Today came out before season started. I was like number 54 on that list. To me, man, I've been growing up looking at that list, that newspaper since I was like 12 or 13 years old. And then one day I'm going to gas station to get a newspaper, and somebody told me my name was in the newspaper. And lo and behold, it was the USA Today class of top 100. So to be a parade All-American in high school. Was a 4-star, had about 50 or so offers to go to school, from my hometown. Ended up choosing to go to Clemson, played there for 4 years. Everybody always asked me why I didn't go to Alabama or Auburn. Kind of wanted to be my own man and follow my own path and be a trailblazer. And me and my teammates did just that. We won the first ACC in 20 years at that time. We had won 10 games that season, and we had like pretty decent years, but my senior year was a lot. We was like breaking records. So had a chance I went undrafted to the Baltimore Ravens in 2012, won a Super Bowl there. My rookie year, played with some great guys, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Michael Orr, Ryan McKinney, Marshall Yonder. The list goes on, man. And I had a great chance to get mentored by those guys while I was there. So after my second year, ended up spending some time in Oakland, got traded to Buffalo, spent a year and a half out there, and then I had a couple places, and then I finished my last 2 years in Arizona. And then I did a year of Canadian ball. And kind of hung my cleats up after that. We fall into that black hole of figuring out what we want to do with our lives and, not realizing that athlete or, former scholar athlete has intangible skills that these companies are looking for in a employee, a partner, X, Y, and Z. So ended up working at a dealership for a couple months. And then I had an autograph signing for the Cardinals. My guy, Adam Richmond, created this program to like alumni ambassadors. He'll invite us back to a game, preseason or the season. We'll sign autographs before the first quarter, and then we could enjoy the game, and then halftime we sign some more autographs. But being paired with this great guy named Jerome Daniels, man, he was a football alumni from the Cardinals. He asked me what I was doing. I let him know I just finished playing. This is kind of my resume as far as my playing resume. And he asked me like, is that something that you're looking for doing, working in a dealership? And I was like, of course not. So he ended up, helping me get an interview with Grand Canyon University in as enrollment counselor. So that blessed me a lot to learn the office space and to learn office politics, all the things that deal with office, and helped me get my first step in, a corporate space outside of a locker room. So I was very blessed to have that that experience. And my great mentor, man, Harry Swain, called me one morning when I was going to work out, going to work that day. He's kind of asked me what I was doing, what I wanted to do. I kind of was saying I kind of want to be in more of the realm of what he was doing, and player development and player engagement. Not because of it's a cool job and it's a lot of work that people think it is, but I always valued the relationship I had with him, and I valued the impact that he had on my life and a lot of my teammates that came in as rookies. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed just our time. And he always check up on me. Like even when I'm on other teams, he would always call and check up on me. So anyways, he told me about his opportunity with the league office. I applied for it, interviewed for it, and I ended up getting the internship. It's called the Legends Development Program. And a lot of guys, that are DPEs now are moving in the football space, like Usama Young, Darrell Young. A lot of guys that went through that program are like, in these magnificent roles now. So anyways, I had a great chance to be mentored by those two guys, Usama Young and Darrell Young. They took me under their wing. They taught me a lot of stuff that they were taught in this space with them coming from the field into that office space. So I ended up, after the pandemic, they kind of let all the smaller roles, because we didn't know what was going to happen in the world. So I ended up landing a post-grad internship at University of Tennessee in student athlete development. Spent 9 months there with Jessica Wildfire and her staff there, man, and learn some more about having that on my resume. I have all sports, not just football, because I just heard a panel before the pandemic, guys talking about them being a DPE for 30 years and then being released when a new regime come, and then they did 30 years of kind of created a space and not being able to be hired because they just only have football experience. So I was blessed to hear that before I went to Tennessee. So I got all of that, and then after my internship ended, I ended up getting my role as the director of student athlete development at UNC Charlotte. 2 days into that, Coach Sweeney calls me and offers me this job that I'm in now, and I'm going into my 4th season in this space. So that's kind of my journey, man.
That's winding road. Okay, did you run across Mike Rucker when you were doing the Legends program from Charlotte, Carolina?
No, that's crazy. I knew Mike Rucker from Baltimore, from all our events we had. I met him. I was telling him Coach Scott had great stories about him and whatnot. But no, I ended up just seeing him throughout my NFL days working in that space.
Gotcha. Shout out to Mike. He's a great guy. Okay. You're at Clemson University, where they expect to win, at least the fans do, national championships every year. Right. And there's high expectations. Dabo's done a phenomenal job of building a tremendous program, even though he played at Alabama. You're from Alabama. You got all these Alabama people running the Clemson football program anyway. And you had a tough year this last year compared to what you've normally experienced. And I think that a lot of different coaches around the country are getting used to the transfer portal. NIL, how do we play this thing? How do we keep the guys that we want to keep because everybody else is coming to recruit them? And that didn't go on when you were in college.
No, not at all.
Okay, if anybody got paid, it was illegally. Nobody got paid legally. So how has that changed the football landscape in college football? When guys can play 1 year and move on.
Well, man, I think it changed it. In my opinion, it changed it I see it from a coach's standpoint, and I'll talk through all levels of it from my point of view. The coach has to recruit the player, and Coach Sweeney says it every day. Like, we got to recruit our guys, not just who we want to bring in. We got to recruit our guys that's on the team now. So it's forcing coaches that may not have a relationship with their players. It was just a coach-player relationship. It wasn't like, we really care about your well-being. I think that's changing the narrative a lot because you have to keep part of your job. You got to keep these guys here. So I think it's keeping the coaches honest. I think, if you tell a kid, from in his living room, if you tell that kid that he's going to play day one, he's expecting to play day one. Like, I know it's a learning curve for a lot of freshmen like myself. Like, I was a highly recruited guy, but like I come from come from a great school, great background, for us people who poured into us, but it's not a major program. So we didn't have like stuff that I had in college, like kids was having that while they was there. So for that kid to come in and expect them to play early may not be to the curb as much as a next freshman and whatnot. So that kid might get discouraged and want to leave because you told me I was going to play day one. Or, it's just, people looking out for the best situation for their family. I know a lot of kids talk about, if I get my NIL deal or my big deal or whatnot, that I can take care of my family now. So I'm not to like worry about that once I get to the real money. But, kids are making almost a rookie salary, a rookie signing bonus just to stay for their last year or, still close to it. So it's different, man. And I hear a lot of people say, the rabbit has the gun now. But at the end of the day, man, it's whatever works out best for the player or his family. You just kind of keep that at the forefront. I don't think it's about the prestige of the school anymore. I think it's about, capital and figuring out how can I maximize my opportunity, not just as an elite athlete, but also too as an elite businessman. So a lot of you guys are coming in already entrepreneur mindset already, especially a lot of mid-year guys coming in with clothing brands already, and they are more of the entrepreneurial brain mindset. I don't think it's no more of quote unquote the outside world saying dumb job. Cause these kids we never were dumb jocks. It's always just, it was always kind of like how you grew up. When your mom said something, she meant it and she never told you why, probably. But now, like, the kid want to know why now. And the kid's like, well, I go somewhere else and I figure out that myself. But end of the day, man, it's more or less keeping your guys happy and recruiting them. And if I feel like you got tampering and all that, but I feel like, if the kid is educated on the experience of college and also to making the money that's going to change his life, I feel like they are, educated enough to make a great educated guess and a business move. But at the end of the day, man, it's up to the kid now. You can tell them, all about the great stuff, but at the end of the day, they may be looking to, all right, so this is a great opportunity to go to school here, but let's talk about the business side. So I think that's what it's moving to, and it's kind of what we're seeing now.
Makes it a lot tougher on the coaches. Even the coaches that are great communicators, even the coaches that love their kids, it makes it tougher because you're only going to play one quarterback. You're not going to rotate quarterbacks. There's certain positions, you're only going to have one center. You're not going to rotate centers. And so there's a QB2, there's a center number 2, and he knows he can't get to the league unless he's playing. And so there's going to be a lot of musical chairs going on every year. And a lot of those kids. So when I've been in the NFL business, what I found is that guys that chase money got some. But the guys that pursues like performance and value and impact and success, the money chased them. And they got a lot more money. And so I think there needs to be a shift at the college level, like there's been at the pro level. Don't get me wrong, there's still guys that are chasing the dollar. But the guy that's setting records, the guy that's making plays, the guy that's making an impact, the guy that's up leveling his offense or defense, whatever side of the ball he's on, the teams gladly pay those guys. They get the Wells Fargo truck backed up to that guy's bank account and they just unload right there because they can't let that guy go.
Right.
But then you've got other players, I got to get paid, man. And they're always looking at, hey, I'm not even in the top 10. Well, you know what? You're not even in the top 30 in production. So maybe you ought to be happy. But no, they want money. So I think, I was a part of an organization back in January this year where, a bunch of 4 and 5 stars already had, 35, 40 offers. And moms and dad, it was a business meeting. It was a business conference. It wasn't a football conference. It just happened to be football players there. And everybody was strategizing how to like get theirs. Well, a lot of them are going to get it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make it to the pros. They're going to get it in college. They may not even get it all in college because I think what happens is, you've heard the term about the concept of hungry dog, fast dog, mean dog, smart dog, tricky dog, all that stuff. But the hungry dog always gets the bone. And in college football today, the highest star player is going to get the money initially. But the hungry dog is going to play longer at a higher level and can make, he might make a couple $1 million in college, but he could make a couple $1 million in a week in the NFL.
Yeah, to your point about that, I think that's why what we do in our department, our player development department, we teaching our guys, giving our guys life skills, but not just giving them life skills, teach them how to use those skills and those tools that we give them. So to your point of a guy who may not go drafted high, but he made a couple of dollars and he's gonna be set for life when he leaves. We're giving them intangible skills like financial literacy to talk about from A to Z what that looks like, from budgeting to you budgeting the money to get college now that they pay college, and also too talking about how to maintain it throughout your life. So let's just say if a guy don't get drafted, he made a bunch of money, he's leaving school with 2 degrees in his hand, probably a national championship, and also too some tools to make that money stretch. Not only with that, he has the money, he has the business acumen because he was a part of the program. He did it himself. He learned. Everything that was offered to him, he took advantage of it. So he know how to network. He know how to create businesses, know how to run businesses. He know how to do all the things that are gonna make you successful in life. So if I don't get drafted, then hey, I went through Paul's journey. I took advantage of all the resources that I have. I have money in my pocket, so now I'm maneuvering in life. Versus you might have that guy who went through the program as well and have some money from NIL and then go to the league and learn to maximize the opportunity there as well. So to your point, I know our department does a great job of grasping that concept early and understanding like, hey, yes, we want to, getting the money is easy, but we want to teach you how to keep the money. So to your point, that's why you provide that example.
Well, one of the things that's interesting is that when you're 18, 19 years old and you go off to college and moving away from home, you deal with a lot of different things. You grow up a lot. You've got to learn that college football is a lot more sophisticated than high school football. The demands, it's a job. In high school, you just show out because you're probably the best guy on every field you played on in high school. And then you get to college and everybody looks like you. Everybody's got talent.
Yeah.
And now you got this money too. And it's like, now you got to learn more about financial literacy and how to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, not everybody's ready for that. It'd be my guess, because not everybody's ready for that. And I think that because football is such a hard sport, I mean, your body at some point in time, sometimes it's at 20, sometimes it's at 30. I don't want to do this anymore. This violence, football means you get to go see your orthopedic doc. Because if you play football, you're going to get to know your orthopedic doc on a first name basis. If you play college football and you're playing and you're starting 14 games a year, you might be seeing that orthopedic doc and having surgery every so often. And guys are like, man, I'm done with this. It ain't no fun to wake up from anesthetic and go, man, what just happened to me? Like, hey, man, you just got 9 more months of rehab and you'll be good.
Yeah, just 9 more months.
Just 9 more months. So
yeah.
I'm not hating on the system. I'm just saying it's a lot. I mean, I have 2 boys that play college football, and, it's like, been around the NFL game for 30 years, and it's like, some guys are really good about, like, trusting their significant other, but you're not going to be doing that in college. Okay.
Right.
But it might be one of your parents, and they handle the money so you can focus on ball, because the money gets bigger if you focus on ball. And that doesn't mean you don't learn about money. It just, you're not playing with it all the time. You don't have a Schwab account. You're not trading stocks every day. If you're doing that, you probably ain't going to be making plays on the field.
Yeah.
Right? So how do the coaches recruit differently today than they did 5-10 years ago? What what is the additional criteria that college coaches have to have today that before NIL and portal, they didn't even pay attention to?
Man, the difference I see just around the country, I know Coach Sling don't change up how he recruit at all. For my opinion, he kind of recruit guys the same way he recruited us. I mean, he may have small idiosyncrasy that he used from the new age, connecting with the Generation Z kids. It's just, like social media, before they banned it, the photo shoots, all the cool fly stuff. I think a lot of schools, and then facilities, everybody's battling facilities now. I know the indoor facility that we have, a lot of schools have thrown up their indoor facilities. So, like, I think all the cool and intangible stuff that a guy like to see, I think schools are using that more, enticing them with that. I think, but I feel like whenever you being transparent with a kid, I feel like they respect that more. Yeah, this is cool stuff. This is great. But at the end of the day, they want to know where they stand and where they sit at on the throne as far as what school they're going to. And yeah, you can do all the cool stuff, but like I said, end of the day, man, they want to know, like, all right, where do I fit here? And if they're asking for something, whether that's I'm gonna be a starter X, Y, Z, or coaches do like guaranteeing it, probably not. But I just think they're leaning towards more of like collective. This is what the collective done for this guy. They hear through the grapevine. So all these kids talk, so they know. So like even with guys going to college before out of the high school, they got another guy coming up behind him. They talk, so they kind of know what's going on. So some guys may come in with that. Hey, this is my price. Then if you can match it, no, if not, I'm going on to make my decision. Some guys, like you said, to your point, understand the longevity and the purpose behind it, and then the money to chase them. Some guys will have that mindset. So I think. From what I see coaches are going more towards the flashy stuff with kids, and if they can get into the NIL space and talk, I'm pretty sure like some of them maybe they could they'll do that. But I feel like the emotional intelligence side, 'cause this is a different kid now. I think if coaches can appeal more to that, like these kids are different. They want to know why. So I think, just being genuine, the flashy stuff that all kids like. And then too, I guess the money piece. I mean, I know everybody has their NIL people, but you can educate yourself as much as you can. But I think, man, it's just more of those three things I think what coaches are going. All the coaches doing it the right way, in my opinion.
Well, this is what I would do if I was in that space. I would be as honest and transparent as I humanly possibly could. I would shoot everybody straight, knowing that I'm not going to get some players that I really like because I'm going to shoot them straight.
All right.
Because if I don't shoot them straight, it's going to corrupt the whole position room. Because they're going to tell everybody else in the room that Craig said this and that and everything else, and he was BSing me. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for guys that have high character, obviously athleticism and ability. But I'm looking for guys with high character. I'm looking for guys that are we people, not mean people. And I understand that everybody needs their share, but I want guys that have a bigger vision than that. Because if I find a recruit, then all he wants to talk about is NIL.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, hey man, I'll manage whatever anybody else has got. Oh, well, tell me more. No, whatever your highest number is, I'll manage it. You just have to decide if we're a good fit. I don't want to talk about the money. The money's there. It's just part of the game. It's no different than when you were in the NFL. Did your position coaches ever want to talk to you about money?
No, it was strictly football.
It was all football.
They got a department for that, and you got agents for that, and you got everything for that. So that's kind of how we GM,
you got a negotiator, you got agents.
You got payroll.
Yeah, you want your relationship to be about ball.
Right.
So as a coach, I want to train the player to let's communicate and connect on ball. How great do you want to be? How important is it to you to have a long career? You want to make 500 G's and call it a day? That's cool. You want to make generational wealth and have a gold jacket potentially 15 years down the road? That's a different person. That's the kid I want. Not everybody's like that, but that's the player I'm going to recruit.
But I will say now though, you got the guy that come in, the scholar athlete come in now who gets it. He understands the business side of it. He understands maximizing that opportunity as well as all the genuine stuff that you want from a guy who loves the game of football, who works hard, who's that high the upper right corner. Like you got that guy, but he also understands his value too. So that's a dangerous kid to me. Like to me, he understands his value and he know how to get it done. And he's gonna come. Okay, I ain't gonna start. Yeah, I want to come here, but this is my number. But honestly, I might have to work up to that. But I'm gonna, and we all know he's gonna do that. That's a dangerous guy because he knows his worth and he also understands how to get to the top on the football side too. So I mean. And that, most of the guys that we talk to now, they are coming in like they understand that.
Well, let me ask you this, Anton. How many years did you play college and pro football combined? Was it like 11, 10?
4 years, 4 years in college and 6 years, so 10 years. But I've been playing football since I was 8 years old, 7 years old.
Okay, so you've been playing football forever, but you played business football for
10 years.
10 years. How many of those 10 years was perfectly smooth? It went just like you dreamed it would go. You stepped right in. You had no adversity, no injuries, no unexpected competition, didn't get over-recruited or overdrafted, didn't get pimped around by coach. It went smooth out of 10. How many?
None.
None?
Even the years that I felt like, even the years when I felt like I 3 years started at Clemson, played a lot as a freshman. Like I got the record for like knockdowns and starts before like 2 or 3 guys. I'm like number 3, but like because I feel like I had Brad Scott, and like he was a very stickler for technique. Yes, I was a dog, as they say, and I balled out every game, but I didn't know I always had a highest grade because great job of playing. He's on the ground, but I don't like your footwork. Like, dude, like, come on. So, like, I always felt like I was always behind the 8 ball. It's kind of like a mind thing. I play hard. I kind of stayed, in that grind mode. But I felt like I was going to be like that. But nah, every year it felt like, for me, it always felt like I wasn't having a ride, which I don't want to have to anyway. I just felt like you feel like you can't do anything right at some point. But then you get older, you realize, like I said in the NFL, my technique was great because my coach was only about my technique. And even in the NFL, that's another story. I was an undrafted guy, so every day for me was like an interview. So I had to bring my A game every day. So I never felt settled. And then it never ends. It rarely ends for guys how they dream it would end. That's only like 10% of the league that actually like
1%.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1%.
One
of guys go out on their own terms. And I played with one of them. I seen Ray Lewis. He probably felt like he was out on his own terms. He probably felt like, it was time to give it up. But rarely do you might be sitting comfortably one day eating lunch and then they pull you to the side and say, hey, coach needs you to bring your playbook. Like, what? I balled out last game. Or you eating lunch and you watching them bring your replacement in every Tuesday and work them out. So yeah, man, I never felt like I was in pocket with my career as far as I got it on lock. I always felt I had to grind and work hard. Towards the end of my career, I started feeling like that, and then hey, I got cut and they drafted 2 guards.
Well, here was my point. When I'm recruiting, I want to find a young man that can handle adversity. I want to find a young man that can thrive when he's uncomfortable. Because that's what football is, man. You went 10 for 10. 10 seasons in quote unquote, pro ball, including Clemson. And you were uncomfortable. You were getting coached more than you wanted to be. You were getting challenged. When you went to the league, you wanted to be drafted. You didn't get drafted. And then they're trying to replace you every Tuesday. And you every night during training camp, the last 10 days leading up to the cut downs.
Horror. It's, oh my God.
Oh my God, your girlfriend, your mom, and your dad, and your kids are like, hey, Ton, how's it going, dude? You think you're going to make it? How'd practice go today? How many reps did you get?
Yeah.
Did coach say anything good to you?
All right.
What kind of vibe you getting, man?
I think that though. I did have And this guy, man, Juan Castile came on to the Baltimore Ravens towards the end of our Super Bowl run. And he would want us to do kind of like just always technique stuff all the time. It was very simple stuff. I'm like, who is this dude, man? What do you? But I started to see like, all right, and he took a liking to a lot of us young guys. And he would call us every day, hey man, good job today. Tomorrow work on this. And that got me hyped. And I start seeing my production go from here to here. I'm pressing with the ones. Somebody was hurt. So I'm with the ones that I'm fitting in. I'm like, oh, I get it. So, but still didn't make the team that year because there was so much money and, uh, the politics around all that. But like, man, Warren Castile, man, he slowed the game of football. So like that helped me stay in the league for a long time. Me just having those couple of months. And then training camp, I broke my foot. Most of my rookie career in the all season when he was the actual O-line coach. And like he really like poured into me when I was hurt. He had me doing stuff, had me watching stuff. And then when we started our OTAs, had us doing extra stuff as far as like full practice started. And it was working. And I didn't care about how long I was like, this will keep me in the league. And lo and behold, I made a 53-man roster the next year. So I was like, so that was when I felt, but then I get released and I get traded into Oakland, whatnot. But man, I was like, wow, he gave me tools to help serve me the rest of my career. So I would say if I was staying in Baltimore instead of going practice squad or getting cut, like bro, I'll probably been playing like 10 years. Or if Coach Juan Castile would have stayed there, like he spoke my language, man. I love him to death to this day.
No, I know Juan. I knew him when he was with the Eagles. He's been around a long time. He's coached defense. He's coached O-line. Coached with Andy Reid for a while. Bottom line is, you described something that I think a lot of coaches forget. And that is that you got to pour into your players. And so my question to you is, it's not your job at Clemson to go around and tell the coaches, hey, man, love on your guys. Push them. Stay connected with them.
Stay connected with them, yes.
Okay? But if you ever get that opportunity, that's how you can expand and improve the experience of the players in the locker room. Because coaches, man, they're thinking about their wife and their kids and their money and their financial advisor and their next job. And then when they start feeling the heat, they're trying to keep the job they got. They ain't thinking about the players.
Right.
They got to keep thinking about the players. So here's what I want you to do. You don't necessarily have to close your eyes, but I want you to think back to a career-defining moment in your football career where things were going really, really well, and then all of a sudden you got blindsided. And I also want you to think about when you were like the underdog, Kurt Warner, working at the grocery store and thinking it was over, and you got a shot and it changed to the positive. I want the high to the low and the low to the high.
All right. Well, my high before I got blindsided was going into my last season with the Cardinals. And man, if you ask anybody, I loved Arizona. I love the sunshine. It was just a great place to be, great teammates. And first, I was practice squad that 1 year I was there, and like I just worked my behind off every day for Coach Goody. And Coach Aarons was bigging me up. So that whole year, I'm balling. The strength coach is working with me. He loved me. So, like, guys is like, hey, bro, come on to this side and give me a better look because you do it the right way. And I'm like, everybody's in love with me. So, man, I go off that season. Everybody's bigging me up. They tell me I'm the guy, man. So, I'm like, oh, man, close to my big contract. I'm close to, like, you know what I'm saying? So, man, like, that whole off season, I jump out of bed every morning. I loved it. I was so excited. The sun was shining. Every day was gonna be a great day. We work out at 7, done by 12. We all hang out. It was great camaraderie, man. I'm gonna be the guy. So I'm like, I'm happy every day. And then the draft came. They drafted 2 guards. Lo and behold, when we started training camp, I'm on left guard one day, I'm at right tackle one day, I'm at left guard one day, I'm at left tackle one day. I'm like, bro, just leave me at one spot, let me do my thing. I mean, I understand you got to be ambidextrous with your positions, but like I just wasn't there. So I'm like, one day I'm focusing on because left tackle is very, very important. So it's right tackle. So I'm reading all the film for guard today, and then I'm at tackle just out of the blue. I'm like, oh God, let's leave me. Anyways, so and then I understood the money too. They always talk about don't count numbers, but like, bro, we're not stupid. Them five is paid the most. They not going nowhere. You drafted 2 guards, so you're not gonna cut them. And the rest of us is fighting for that one spot, but you already have that spot because he's the swing tackle. So we're not stupid, bro. So like, miss me with that don't count numbers. But anyways, so I think I kind of played more to the negative side. Like, oh my God, like I had a bad day today. I made one play, made one bad play, made me feel like it's like the worst day ever. And then I let that sit in my mind every day. So I was just kind of like fighting for it. And then it was kind of like very negative. And then I started going downhill a little bit, started making mistakes I didn't usually make. And then, and I kind of knew it. I knew, like, in the preseason games, the first game, the best would play like probably 1 drive or 2 drives, depending on how young that group is. And then you get the second team, top tier guys, and you got the rookies. So depending on where you play at in that rotation, all right, you kind of see got a chance to make this team. But like you kind of know, like, all right, I ain't playing until the 3rd quarter. Okay. So the next game, the vets want to play a little bit more. Then I gotta drive out of that because I'm a veteran player. I got a couple of drives out of that, good drives. And then that 3rd game, when the vets play, if you don't get in that 3rd game, you kind of know, like, yeah, this is it for me. And then if you playing the whole 4th game, you're out of there. So that last game, man, I had a panic attack that night after I played well, but I knew I was gonna make the team. Man, I was looking at my life just crumbling, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting cut. And it was very panicky for me. I had like a little panic attack a little bit, but I kind of got over it. So the next day, I got the call, my life, whatever. So.
All right, stop right there. What you described, I've lived hundreds and hundreds of times through my clients.
Mm.
But here's something that I learned, Anton. Even though it looks like you're not going to make it, smells like it, common sense tells you you're probably not going to make it. Reps are telling you not going to make it, playing time, all that stuff. But this is what I see happening. When your dream and your circumstances don't align. Let's say they're aligning right here. That's good. But no, they're not aligning. You either have to surrender to your circumstances, or you got to hold on to your dream. And I would say only about 1 or 2% can hold on to the dream because it's crazy to hold on to your dream. It's like your brain's like, dude, they drafted 2 guys. But you know what? I've had guys drafted get beat up on undrafted guys. I've had guys that didn't get drafted beat out the guys that got drafted. It's supposed to work out a certain way. The coaches want it to work out a certain way. The GM wants it to work out a certain way. Everybody in the building knows, but a lot of times it doesn't work out the way they were hoping. And the guy that was making more money, they're like, hey, they call him ask him to bring his playbook. Like, hey, man, we had you penciled in to start this year, but shit, man, these young guys stepped it up, so you got to step out.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how do you help the guys at Clemson when they're in a situation like you were in Arizona? Because what happens if a guy that's in front of you, has an unfortunate injury in the last preseason game and he's done for the year? Well, if you've not played up to your potential, guess what your GM does? Gets the waiver wire.
Right.
Goes and gets somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you played down to your circumstances. Like, oh, man, it's doomsday. I can't make it. Your agent's saying, oh, man, I'm going to start looking at other teams. It's like, no. Finish the dang thing strong. Hold on to your dream and let it be what it's going to be. And don't allow your mind, which is so powerful, to defeat you before you go on the field. Thoughts on that?
Nah, man, I wish you would have told me that. I wish you were my agent telling me that, because my agent was not telling me that. But to answer your question and say, how do I approach a guy at Clemson like that? Like, I see a lot of guys who were big name guys, 5-star, and not playing because, injuries, they want to transfer, they miserable. Well, I tell you, we got a guy now, man, probably gonna be a first round draft pick. I'm not gonna say his name because he's still playing. He was like hurt every year. When I got here, he was kind of like, I remember him from recruiting. He's been hurt every year. He's been told he's not this, he's not that. And I told him, I said, look, bro, like, what's the rush to like leave and transfer? I gotta take care of my family. Like, bro, you've been quote unquote broke. Now, what's gonna change when you go to another school? You just go from being third team to 30th team, and then you gotta still prove yourself, and you gotta overcome injuries. And you may not have the fly stuff you have here to get healed fast. So you might be, hey, bro, just stick it out, man. Stick it out this year. Give it all you got. So if you do want to leave and transfer or whatever, you cannot say that I did not give my all and I didn't make that team. Yes, that's gonna suck, but also too, you got your dignity and your pride because I gave my all. And he took that advice and he's gotten better and better and made some plays and gonna be a rich man one day. So that's kind of how I approach that. Or I see I go to the training room, talk to those guys all the time, man, about thinking about your career after football. So that way, while you're rehabbing and when you get back on the field, you're not so pressured or injury prone or mind prone anymore because you understand I got set up after football, and then you end up playing longer because you're playing free. So that's kind of how I attack that on those spectrums.
Well, one of the things that I talk about with my guys, and I coach people on this, is the concept of creating a performance bubble. And when you create a performance bubble is for practice, meetings, weight room, walkthroughs, indie period, team period, scrimmages, spring game, and when the lights are on. And anything that's for you comes with you. Anything that's not for you doesn't get to come in. So all those negative thoughts, all those doubts, all those fears, all the politics. Oh, here we go again. Hey, the coach didn't even talk to you, but he talks to the other guy. You don't even bring that in.
Right.
Because if you do, you will play down to your situation. Where when you're in that bubble, this is what you get in that bubble. If you really can do it, you get power. You get confidence. You have utmost belief in yourself. You can't believe in yourself anymore when you got all the negativity out. You got freedom. You got peace of mind because you're not second guessing yourself about everything. Because that's the hardest thing about football and sports. Man, it's a head game. It's not everybody sees people flying around and catching touchdowns and blowing people up and all that stuff. No, it's a head game. Some guys on the O-line false start all the time. Everybody thinks they're stupid. No, they're not. They're thinking too much.
Yes.
They're like anticipating what the other guy's going to do. They're stressed out about something, and then they false start. It's not ability. It's how they've really just kind of muddied the water in their mind. So they can't think clearly. Then their talent can't take over. And the coach is like, man, when's the light going to go on for that guy?
I hear that so much. It's like, then you go talk to the kid. Like, I love how Bruce Arians used to say, he said, if I call you dumb, I'm not calling you dumb as a person. I'm calling your football dumb. But I always think too, how much did you know about this player? Like, yeah, you got to get it. You got to, because it's the league and you're getting paid. But you might have the best receiver in the room, but you don't know how to connect with him. It's more or less, oh, he don't understand it. Oh, he's dumb, or he's like, no, he's not. You just don't speak to him. Like, you can't. Like, Warren Castile, when he came into the Ravens, bro, when I tell you, like, I understood everything from simple stuff versus the guy we had. He was very like Albert Einstein, but like he couldn't relate. Like, But man, when I tell you I made zero mental errors, I had no issues like with anything as a rookie because of one catch because he slowed it down for me. So I wonder how many coaches take the time to do that, man. It's like if you can't, like, for one, if I'm dumb, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? So if you can't call a kid dumb, he don't get it. It's just you can't teach it till he understand it. So
Did you have John as a coach?
John,
Nesco?
no sir, he went to the Panthers by the time I got there. I had Andy Moeller, and then I had Juan Castillo.
Gotcha. Okay, so my motivation with Pro Mindset for everybody that I talk to is to learn about something that you're doing that I've never heard before, or get reinforced, or to make an impact the other way around. But here's my challenge for you. My challenge for you is that you got all these super people coming into Clemson that could have went anywhere. But you know, it's like we talked about before, only 11 guys get to go out to be starting on offense, right? And there's only about 15 guys that play on defense. And offense, you can rotate some receivers and running backs, but it's like 14, 15 guys. Got a lot of guys sitting on the bench that could be better than the guys on the field. It just may take them a little bit of development with the playbook, a little bit of confidence. It might be growth in the weight room. It could be blocking out negativity. It could be a lot of different things. My challenge to you, Anton, is to look for those dudes on the sideline. Look for those guys in the locker room that their heads are spinning. They're thinking about, you know, they're calling mama and saying, hey, you know, I really don't like it here. You know, it's like, and she's like, well, you could go somewhere else. Remember Coach so-and-so from such and such school? Man, I loved him. Well, he'd be doing the same thing there. It's not Clemson. It's the player. And it's his inability to deal with an environment that isn't going perfect. For those few guys where things are going perfect, they don't got no issues. But a majority of the guys in the locker room, they all got issues. And when they don't think they have issues, they call home and they find out they should have an issue.
Yeah.
Or they talk to their marketing agent and like, well, man, I should be making more. They were happy. They got a nice ride. They got money in the bank. They're making some appearances, and then they talk to the marketing guy. It's like, bro, I'm working with another guy in the ACC and at Florida State or somewhere like that. And man, he's making 3 times what you're making. Now that kid's all messed up in the mind.
Yeah.
So my challenge to you is, how can you keep an eye out for those kind of players that are awesome people, got a lot of potential, got a heart for the game, and they are getting distracted by all the business stuff of football that causes them to make a dumb decision. Maybe it's transfer. Maybe it's like, you know, have a bad relationship with the coach because you're pissed off at him because he's not playing you when he would play you if you just showed up better, right? So that's my challenge to you, is to make an impact on your school, your alma mater. And most of those kids are going to be young kids. It's that first couple of years when they're still trying to figure it out, and everybody told them it was going to be like
the greatest experience ever.
Oh my God, college football is amazing.
And it is. Once you get your ducks in a row, it is. Even when you don't have them, if you had a perspective of, I always had a perspective of, like, for me, is I'm not in my hometown, I'm not at home, I'm actually on a mission to do something great that nobody in my family's ever done. That always kept me on the straight and narrow and, like, you know, getting sidetracked. Yeah, I had my little, you know, we have our little immature moments, but at the same time, it's like I am on the bark of something great. And I knew I was going to do it because kind of how I thought as a kid. I've been doing the law of attraction before I knew I was doing it. So, you know, that always kept me on the straight and narrow. I'm not going back home. I can't go back home. So that always kept me like, yo, all right, I'm going to get it straight. I'm going to figure it out. I ain't got no choice but to figure it out. So I feel like it kind of was like burn the ships and figure it out from there. So that always helped me. I don't know everybody might not have that circumstance, but like to your point, you're right. I always try to help our guys keep their vision, have a vision for your career first. That'll keep you on the straight and narrow or keep you on that course because you're not just moving in a circle every day. You all right. If I know I'm not playing, coach and our guys to go talk to their coach and say, hey, coach, I'm not satisfied because I'm not playing. Why am I not playing? Now, when he tells you why you're not playing, no matter how he told you, did you receive it the right way? Did you understand fully of why you're not playing? And then once you get told that and understood why you're not playing, what are you going to do to change why you're not playing? Because he gave you the recipe. If he should not still play you, then, hey, that's on them. And that's when you figure out, all right, maybe it's in the place for me because I've done what you said, right? And you saw it on film every day. You still don't want to play me. Cool. I get it. Move on or however that may look or wait your turn. A lot of times it's we're not ready. God don't give us something, man, if we're not ready for it. I learned that. He might give it to you, but he wants you to see that you wasn't ready for it. Maybe I wasn't ready to be a starter in the league because I probably wasn't ready mentally. So that's probably why I'm doing a great job in this space to go through all that, have some victories, but also have bad days. Show these guys, hey, this is what I would have done if I was in you guys' footprints and steps and whatnot. So now that I saw it from the league space and from the collegiate space, helping those guys understand, all right, man, like I know this guy was in your shoes. This is what he did to change what he was doing, and this is why he excelled. So to your point, man, I think it's just giving them the tools to have those conversations or understand what your winning team looks like. So you let them know how you want to move. And you may not get paid as much as the guy from Florida State because he's a starter or he makes more plays than you do. Or they have a different dynamic with their collective NIL space down there as well, too. So you can't get caught up on that. That's why I like some guys don't know who's making what. Just keep playing and get yours. And you're not gonna if you're not a big time guy, like you may be a 4-star, but you might have been low on a total pole versus this 5-star, this guy who's making plays. So you gotta help them look at all the dynamics. And then too, they may just be lucky than you. You gotta accept that and get yours on the back end.
What would you like to share about the biggest impact you make in the position that you have with player development, player engagement that the average mom, dad, athlete out there, fan wouldn't even realize?
Oh, okay. So in my role, I'm the director of former player engagement and development. So I'm under the umbrella of Paul Journey, which is our player development, and I'm the fourth pillar, which is the last pillar of our department. But I think, well, I know for sure that this role was created one that because when you value former players, but also two from a development standpoint. There's always been a stigma that our NFL guys or our guys leave here and don't give back. And the part of the reason for that is when we were playing football here, we wasn't educated on what that looks like of giving back. Not just your money, but your resources, your time, and your talents to help, help our guys have a better outcome than we had because we have the resources now. So what I do was, so in my role, I create those opportunities for guys to give back and come back and be a part of our programming. Like I've raised $1.8 million this past year for our department. That's going to help our department be here when we're long gone. And also, when guys do come back, helping those guys to see other opportunities to where they can make Clemson better, whether that's money wise or is that resource wise, and also to having our guys see a former player in my structure or seeing our NFL guys who work out here all season can pull from their brains and pull from what they're doing to help their experience better. And even having some of our current scholar athletes now understanding what development is and what that looks like. So I was happy to be a part of helping our two football scholar athletes, Will Shipley and KJ Herring, create an endowment that will not only serve Paul's learning, but it serves our women's sports, that our new women's sports that we have, and also it serves diversity with retention, helping those students who come from, like me, first generation college student, retain and have resources to be able to stay at school. So, and we was the first of our time for our guys to use their NIL dollars to create an endowment that's going to serve the current scholar athlete, the students, as well as the future of Clemson. So that's one thing I'm excited I had a chance to create and be a part of here. And when our guys are leaving this year, having exit meetings, they are saying in their exit meetings, I want to be a donor. Thanks for all the stuff that we've been doing in those footsteps. Now, our guys understand, okay, I understand the influence I'm going to have as a football player, but once I leave, the influence that I will have is my contribution to Clemson.
That's awesome. Well, Anton, thank you very much for being on Pro Mindset today. Go Tigers. It's Craig Domann, the host of Pro Mindset Podcast. I want to thank you for listening or watching today's show. And you can catch us every week on the normal social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all the listening podcast platforms. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And more importantly, I hope you gained a Pro Mindset insight. Please be sure to rate and review Pro Mindset Podcast. And I look forward to catching up with you on our next show.